What's up guys, we are back bringing you some Honkai Star Rail videos. Today's video is going to be on the one and only BRONYA from Honkai Star Rail, and today we're going to be going through her character build, her eidolons, her traces, obviously her skills, techniques and basic attacks, what they do, how they help you. I'm going to be speaking from my perspective specifically and how I've built her in the game. Obviously everybody is entitled to their own opinion on how they want to play the game, but from my perspective I've played it in a different way. I play in a different way, everyone plays in a different way. So my obviously opinion, don't take this as the 1-2-1 go all way to play BRONYA. Obviously there are specific other ways to play BRONYA, but this is my way. But with that said, let's hit the video and show you how to basically build her from my perspective and how I work with her in terms of gameplay on a day-to-day basis. My BRONYA is actually at level 80 with her Lightcone at level 80. Traces are actually 9, 9 and 9. I'm actually looking to farm for both her trace material and obviously a bit of money because I don't have any money, and obviously her relics, I'll be honest, they're just basically attack. Everything that I put on her is with the highest crit damage that I can get with the relics that I have. The way I build her is that I also obviously got one of her eidolons by losing I think one of the 50/50s. But the reason why is I like building my characters up to the max rather than, you know, looking at all this probably YouTubers who are putting characters 75 or 71, which to me really makes no sense. But you know, everyone is doing what they want to do. The game basically works the way you want to play it. So if you want to play it in a specific way, play it in your specific way. If you want to play it in another specific way, play it in that specific way. Everybody has a way of playing this game and it caters to everybody. So obviously as we look at her abilities, we're going to start off with a basic attack. So a basic attack in general, what it does is that deals wind damage equal to 100% of BRONYA's attack to a single enemy. And obviously when you unlock one of her traces, the crit rate for her basic attack increases by 100%, meaning whatever amount of crit damage you have, every single time that she basically does a basic attack, she will crit for 100%, which is damn right amazing in its own. Her talent, after using her basic attack, BRONYA's next action will be advanced forward by 28%. At the start of battle, all allies' defense increases by 20% for 2 turns, and her military might, obviously meaning when BRONYA is on the field, all allies deal 10% more damage. Now obviously that in itself basically brings to fact that BRONYA on her own is one of the most broken characters that we have in this game, because she does everything for us. She increases our damage, she increases our defense, and then she also increases our general output damage during the course of a battle. When we go for her ultimate, it increases the attack of all allies by 52% and increases their crit damage equal to 15.5% of crit damage plus an extra 19% for 2 turns. So obviously if you have, let's say, crit damage worth of like mine 178, I'm not really going to pretend like I know math, but if you want 15% of that, that's probably around like 45. That's probably around 45 to 30% of her basic crit damage, and then plus an extra 19%. When we go to a skill, it dispels the debuff from a single ally, allowing them to immediately take action and increase their damage by 61% for 1 turn. When the skill is used on BRONYA herself, she cannot immediately take action, meaning as much as you want to use this on her to basically buff up someone else again, doesn't work. The bonus effect that you get from one of our eidolons is when using the skill, there's a 50% fixed chance of recovering 1 skill point. This effect has 1 turn cooldown. Obviously that means that there's a 50% chance to basically recover a skill point every time you use a skill, which on its own is one of the best things ever. As we move on to the technique, after using BRONYA's technique at the start of the next battle, all allies' attack increases by 15% for 2 turns. So basically, you know, just the way you press the skill button before the start of the battle, you get like a buff, or you use a skill or technique to basically do something. For her is that she increases everyone's attack by 15%. So imagine that you have a talent that increases basically defense and general damage, and then you have her skill, or rather her talent or technique, that basically increases an extra 15% for 2 turns. So you have close to about 25% of damage when you're going into a game. Obviously, as you look at her Lightcone, this is a signature Lightcone. What this basically reads is that it increases the wearer's energy regeneration rate by 10% and regenerates 1 skill point when the wearer uses their ultimate on an ally. This effect can be triggered after every 2 uses of the wearer's ultimate. When the wearer uses their skill, the next 2 allies taking action deals 30% more damage for one turn. Basically, so if you mix that with her ultimate and her technique and her skill, you're giving someone 61% worth of damage, and then you play her ultimate, which gives you an extra, again, about like 35 to 40%, and then you basically play again her into account her Lightcone. You're basically getting close to 90 to 80% worth of damage for that specific character. I mean, in its own, BRONYA will always be one of the best harmony characters ever in the game. As you look at the traces, obviously one of the important things I've just done, there's no really need for me to go through this, but one of the first traces is the crit rate for basic attack increases by 100%. At the start of battle, all allies' defense increases by 20%, and obviously when you reach level 80, when BRONYA is on the field, all allies deal 10%. Now, I have no specific rule of thumb on how you should build everything. I like to build everything. I don't think telling people, oh, build, start off with the ultimate and then go to attack. I like maxing out everything, because this is the one thing in the whole game that you can basically max out. If people say it's resource heavy, you know what, everyone to their own. You play the game the way you like to play it. I play the game the way I like to play it. And the way I like to play it is I like to max every single person one at a time. That means I'm not going back to them later on during the course of the game, unless it reaches the point where I'm relic farming. But obviously, if you're listening to this, I'd recommend basically upgrading a skill and then her ultimate, and then obviously you can upgrade this to, which is her talent and her basic attack later on, obviously, because that at the next level at 10 gives about 66%, which is a big jump as well. And then obviously her ultimate when you at level 10 is 16% and 20%. Again, mad. Now, as we look at the relics, there's nothing much about a relic. The only reason I've given her this relics is because all of them have the highest amount of crit damage that I've gotten from farming on the relic domains. But I'll leave that. I have no advice for this specifically, because like I said, I think everybody has their forte for building characters. I mean, I've seen some people build the win set. I've seen the people build the damage mitigation set. So there's no rule of thumb as to what you want to build for her. As long as it hits, as long as she's building crit damage and that you can give her the highest crit damage possible, she will be all right. Obviously, for eidolons, eidolon 1 is when you use a skill, there's a 50% chance of recovering 1 skill point. This effect has a 1-turn cooldown. And then when using eidolon 2 is when using a skill, the target's ally speed increases by 30% after taking action, lasting for 1 turn. Obviously, 3 is just increase of skills and talent. Eidolon 4, after an ally other than BRONYA uses basic attack on an enemy with wind weakness, BRONYA immediately launches a follow-up attack on the target, dealing wind damage equals 80% of BRONYA's basic attack damage. This effect can only be triggered once per turn. I mean, I don't know, she has everything. She's a buffer, she's a buffer, she advances people's skills, and then she has a follow-up attack if you get her to Eidolon 4. And then obviously Eidolon 5 is basically her skill in basic, but then her Eidolon 6, the duration of the damage boost effect placed on the skill on the target ally increases by 1 turn. The reason why her Eidolon 6 is busted compared to people like Ting Yang is that you're getting close to an 80% to 70% increase in damage in general. If you play her skill, ultimate, and then incorporate a talent all at once on one ally, you're getting one huge boost of damage. Now imagine getting that for 2 turns. I think that's why she's one of the most broken obviously characters. So with that said, obviously that's her build, and that's where I am with her. I think she's one of the best characters that anyone can have in this game. If you have her, use her, build her. She brings so much utility, and what I think about her is the fact that she's a big numbers. So obviously, just to show you what I was talking about, we will actually do an example of one of her. What she can actually do. So I'll go here and I'll basically just pop in here, and what we'll do is we will play, actually, you know what, let's do that, and I'll do a quick setup just to show you what I'm talking about. So we'll do her and Dan Heng, for example, because we don't want to do like a 5-star or something. and you know, just for the sake of the test, that's all we're going to do, right? Now as we go into this is what I'm talking about, right? So if you look at Dan Heng's stats right now, we have about 2,000 of worth of obviously attack, and then obviously defense again for 20%, and then obviously he has his own thing. So we have a starting amount of defense which is 20%. If we get out and then we play his skill, and then we go back into the game, we see that we have now moved up attack by 15%. So now imagine this, I'm going to play his skill, right? Or rather his basic, just to get something. No problem. Now a basic attack obviously is worth about, as you can see, 2,300. But what we're going to do, we're going to buff up Dan Heng here, and we're just going to make sure that because he gets about 60%. So if you look at it from here, he has right now about 2,300, right? If we buff her right now, we have a 50% of actually refunding that skill point as well. So we go back. We've increased damage dealt by 30%, increased, and then an extra increased damage dealt by 61%. Jesus, we have 81% worth of damage. Obviously, to put it in numbers, I'm gonna quit, retreat, go back into the game. So we're gonna go with his skill now. You're gonna see how much damage he deals in general. So Dan Heng, I'm gonna play skill just in general. We're gonna hit 8,100, right? Now we're gonna do the same thing, and then she refunds the skill point. You have the increase in damage worth of 81%. 15,210. Now that was actually without the skill activated, so we're going to skill, go back into the game, and then we're going to do like his general skill. 8,491. I'm going to play her again. Didn't refund a skill point, which is a 50-50. That's fine. You got our 81% increase in damage. Remember, it was 15,000 the last one, so let's see how much this one does. About 14,050, so you probably think that's a difference. But we're gonna go away and see how much we can actually play so we're gonna do this obviously for someone with, so if I play her ultimate, it definitely runs skill point. Boom. And then I am going to bring him up. So let's see how much we have. So we have increased damage of 30% and increased damage of 61%. We have an attack of 52% increase and crit damage of 46%. We have gone from 1,446 increase in damage to 1,801 worth of damage, and our increase in crit damage has gone up to 109, which is around about 89 to I think 90% before. Now, as we go to a skill, 18,596. So as you can see, I think BRONYA is one of the most busted characters you can play in this game. She has a lot of utility. She brings a lot of utility in general to the game. So I think one of the main things that you want to obviously play with BRONYA is the fact that she is an amazing character, and you definitely want to build her. But with that said, if you liked the video, hit that like and subscribe, and remember, touch some grass.